And tonight we have a very special guest, a friend of mine who is Meghan Eggleston. And she is currently a 10-star diamond coach, but she is 15-star qualifying. So she's jumping 5 ranks in the next 5 weeks. So pretty impressive. She's an SB10 legend, and she's also an organization leader on the leadership ladder. So, you know, guys, I think everyone will be interested in what she has to say. And I kind of already gave you guys a sneak peek of it about, you know, how to, you know, shift your mindset to becoming a CEO. So, Meghan, if you want to take it away.
Sure. All right. Thank you for having me, Greg. Just so you know, these things make me really nervous still. And that's kind of significant to the topic that I'm going to share with you tonight. And I'm going to start with a little story about myself, or a little bit more about me. And that's going to be a large part of the significance of what I'm going to share with you, because I think many of us think Pearl personalities never consider ourselves to be CEO type. So let me give you my background, and you'll see why. So I have three young kids, you know, here in Gainesville, Florida. But I truly expected to just be a stay-at-home mom. You know, that was my jam. I was fortunate enough to do that. But this coach thing came calling, and I wasn't interested at first. I've always been shy. You know, I grew up in the hood, really, of Virginia. I grew up in the hood. And I've always been terribly shy. I was always the smallest, the youngest. I started school young. I was always the littlest, the most timid, lacked self-confidence. I was bullied. You know, I was one of those kids. And I never put myself out there because I was usually either picked on or insulted or, you know, physically harmed. So I kind of had a lot of reasons why I didn't feel like I had a lot to offer. And I got married about 11 years ago, and I had 2 great pregnancies. And then my third one was I had a lot of anxiety, and I ended up with postpartum depression. Something that I never even believed in. I thought it was like something like moms made up, go kids cry, but no. So I got to experience what that really is. And I had a really hard time after having my third baby. You know, I had bouts with depression and anxiety in college. I battled bulimia. I was on the dance team. I danced growing up, and I was told that I was too fat for the uniform. I'd gained, you know, the freshman 10, 15, and when you're 5'2", that goes a long way. So I was told, you know, you can't wear your your belly's hanging out. So I was cut, and that was kind of my first time being told, you know, like outright that, you know, you're too heavy. And it spiraled me into some really, you know, bad behaviors, some self-destructive behaviors. Obviously mentioned eating disorders, but also relationships with men. You know, it sent me down like a really bad path. Fitness was the one thing that started to bring me out of that post-grad school. I, you know, found, you know, running. I hate running now, but at the time that's kind of what gave me a sense of empowerment, you know, and it wasn't so much the weight or the fat that I was trying to lose. It was more like I needed control in my life. And if anybody's ever battled eating disorder, you know that it's not about the body so much as it's about the mind, and it's about the control that you don't have. And so that's when I started to realize that fitness had some kind of power for me. And I ended up pursuing ended up getting my degree in kinesiology, and I got certified as a personal trainer, and I teach group fitness classes. And that has been what I've been doing at home once I started having children. I was a student, academic advisor for student athletes at a university before I had children. But I love fitness, and it was something that I did on the side because it gave me some sense of control, it gave me some sense of empowerment. It gave me some confidence. And like I said, I started to fall back into some, you know, that mindset. after having my third daughter. She's now 4 years old. And as much as I know about fitness and nutrition, I was not treating myself very well. I was eating poorly, and, with 2 toddler boys running around and nursing a baby around the clock, I was struggling to eat well. I heard about Shakeology. Some girl at the gym that I got trained for Turbo Kick, she was selling it at her gym. Like, that was like her retail product. She's a coach, but she doesn't actually do it for, the coaching. She did it because she really believed in this supplement, and she wanted to be able to provide her members something. So she posted about it on Facebook one day, and I was like, yeah, I remember seeing that, but I kind of don't believe in shakes. I was kind of a snob about that stuff, being a fitness professional. I, kind of had like a snobby mentality about, oh, you just eat whole foods, but I wasn't doing a good job of that. So I said, okay, I'll do this thing. It's a money back guarantee. And the rest is history. Once you try Shakeology, you're pretty much stuck. And I got the discount, blah, blah, blah. So a year later, I find myself considering this thing. For strictly 12 months, I'm watching you guys. Like, what are they doing? Like, what is this thing? Like, no, I would never do that MLM stuff. But really, it was because I didn't believe that I had any kind of charisma or anything that would influence anybody. I saw that people had success with this, but I thought that was for other people. I thought that was for bold people. That was for compelling, engaging people that are interesting and have something to say. And that wasn't me. So I literally just stopped and judged. But then I started to see people doing this in a way that really lit me up, like was really inspiring. And so sure enough, 12 months later, I decided to do a free group with some of my friends because, it was about a year postpartum, and I was really craving, as a stay-at-home mom with 3 young children, a social outlet. And this was something that gave me a way to stay connected and gave me a way to provide value outside of my family and home. As fortunate as I felt to be home with them, I was craving an opportunity to be able to provide value outside of that. I really thought, I'll just do this free thing. Whatever comes with it is fine, but this just makes me feel good about myself. And I needed that. And I found community, and that's what it all was all about for me. I just needed that support. And I decided, okay, I'll just try this for a few months. If any money comes from it, that's fine, but like, I'm not doing it for that. So that's kind of all gravy. But obviously, I saw about 6 months in that there was real potential here, and I thought I would take it a little more seriously. About a year and a half in, I realized I never had to return to work. And like, I think it was 17 months in is when I replaced the salary I was making as an academic advisor at a university with a master's degree that I still had $36,000, to pay on. But I ended up paying off my student loans. We're debt free now. I've 6 figures and surpassed my husband's income, which is just mind blowing. Because I always thought that this was for somebody else. I had my head down, and I think a lot of the reason I've been able to have some success is because I wasn't focusing on the success. I was focusing on doing what I really wanted to do. And I think we get so caught up in the success and achieving the things that people aren't successful because they're focusing on the wrong things. And sometimes I feel like my team is crippled by that because they do see how much potential is there. They see somebody like them who used to be shy, used to be painfully shy. It was like painful to post pictures on Facebook. They see that success and they think they work too hard for the success, and we forget what it is we came to do. And so I'm going to help you see how I, as a shy, timid, lacking self-confidence, inarticulate, whatever, found myself in a role of influence, and with this inadequacy or imperfection was able to, I'm able to inspire and empower. And so I have like 8 different things that I sat down and I picked apart all the little things that I think helped me to really think like a CEO. Because and when I thought about a CEO, I used to think of this like, powerful male, charismatic presence, super poised and speaks so clearly and knows what they're saying and knows where they're going, has all the answers. And that's not really what it is. And I was listening to a Michael Hyatt podcast just a couple days ago, and they're talking about this trend, and it's been happening for the past couple of years, that the real leaders, the true leaders in the current in our current state, they are not the leaders of yesterday. They are the leaders who find a way to bring out the best in people. They ask leading questions. They don't have the answers. They find the answers from within their business, within their leaders, within the people that are part of, their team. And that should be really encouraging to you, that you don't have to know everything and that you don't have to have all the answers. And when your coach comes to you with, like, what do I do here? You don't have to know the right answer. And we know there's no right answer. And so that Michael Hyatt was talking about this dynamic that we're seeing now, that's who the strongest leaders are, those who are able to find the best in people, help them find the best in themselves by asking the right questions, by listening, and empowering their leaders to rise the whole community. So I have 8 different things. If you want to take notes, I don't know if this will be helpful, but I'll tell you what I'm not going to talk to you about. That's treating your business like a business, setting your work hours. You all know that should be a given at this point. I'm not going to talk about those. Yes, you have a business. Yes, you need to treat it like a business. You have to do all those things. But we're talking about leading. We're talking about feeling confident that you have the ability to lead a movement, because that's really what it looks like to be a CEO. It's not about being a business savvy. It's not about being wise and having all the answers. It's about being able to lead a movement. So yeah, we hear that when we get our business, congratulations, you have a business, but we don't take it really seriously. We don't like, okay, yeah, that's cute. I have a little hobby thing. But for me, I had to come from a place of respect. I had to really respect, the opportunity that I was given. So my first thing that I will tell you, and that I talk about this all the time with my team, is leading yourself. The number one thing you have to do is lead yourself. You are all part of an elite team, like 3-time elite team. You have so many resources available to you. You have so much success that's gone before you. You have so many systems in place. You have confidence that the person that's in charge knows what they're doing. That's really comforting, isn't it? To kind of know that there's somewhere to go for answers and resources. And that's what I wanted to have for my team, because something I didn't mention to you is that my upline doesn't work. I have no volume. I have, sob story, whatever, inside leg, no mama, little orphan girl. I didn't have a choice, and so I really wanted, when I started to realize I was going to do this, and I actually had some people that decided to join me and I actually had to do something with them, I was like, oh shoot. Okay, I need to give them what I didn't have. That's kind of been my mantra ever since. However, what I'm finding is I'm afraid sometimes I cripple my team by giving them too much. And this is why, but that's where you find yourself. You have so much, within arm's reach. And so what can happen if you are not thinking about leading yourself is that that those things are there when you're ready for them. That those resources are there when you have time to start your first challenge, or when you have time to lead your own coach training, when you have time to whatever. When you know that it's right there, it's so much easier to put off taking ownership and taking leadership. And so I honestly feel like my team sometimes just always knows that they have it, so they don't know to go look for it. Whereas I believe this to be true, because I had fleeting moments of, darn, I should have signed up under Christine Dwyer, because that's who did my training for Turbo Kick and all that. And when I found out, or when I realized that I had a business and that there was a top leader, or, there's somebody, so I realized, I could have signed up under her. So I had those moments where I was like, oh, poor me. I believe that if I had signed up under her with my personality, with my shyness, with my lack of self-confidence, people-pleasing, I'm very much a people-pleaser, that I wouldn't have been as successful. I think I kind of would have, okay, tell me what to do next, because I'm an achiever, I'm a perfectionist, but I always kind of play to what I'm told to do. I was that teacher's pet kid. And so I feel like that if I was in strong leadership, that I wouldn't have been as successful. I would have been waiting for her to tell me the next step. But because I had no other choice, I went out and found answers. I had to. And so so when I say lead yourself, I want you to think about using the systems and resources you have. Don't reinvent the wheel. Totally duplicate. That is an awesome thing that you have. but be sure that you are not following everything so blindly that you're not understanding the why behind it and not understanding where you can be you. I'll find, I have an amazing free system. I know that, Greg talks about that's a lot of your success as you guys use free groups so effectively. That's our team does too. And I find my team feels like they have to do everything verbatim like I do it. And I want you to be careful about that. I want you to use what's available to you, but lead yourself. And, one of the things that I'll tell myself is when I'm what do I do here is, what would I do if nobody told me how to do this? If nobody told you how to do something, what would you do? And that helps you to realize that there aren't correct answers and that you do have power to make choices. So yes, my biggest thing with leading yourself is being careful to not wait for the resources or not thinking, I can start this later. I can hold off because I know that support network is there when I need it. I know that those resources, that new coach training, that whatever is there when I need it. What if it wasn't there? What would you do? What would you do? Think about that every day. If I didn't have resources, how would I do this thing? So being a leader of yourself. So my second one is really important, and that is, having a big picture philosophy, having a vision. That's what a CEO does. They inspire a vision. So often, and I think it's okay, even as a new coach, to have a vision. It doesn't have to, it'll evolve. I could have never seen this coming. I thought diamond sounded like it was years away. I didn't know, I had no clue. So I didn't know I had no idea what vision looked like then. So it evolves. It looks like something, different throughout the phases of growing your business. But, I don't like the mindset of, give it 6 months or even give it a year. And so I've started to encourage my team, because that's what I used to hear was, be here in 1 year, give this a year. I think it has to be deeper than that. I think it has to be, a longer term vision. It has to be more than a year, because a year can do a lot, but in this business, we know that that's just the beginning. So what does that look like for you? And I think this is bigger than your why. One of the things that I kind of use as my measuring stick is what, at the end of my life, what would I like people to line up and thank me for? What is it that I want to, what kind of impact do I want to leave? What do I want to say? She was responsible for, largely for making this happen. So that, when I've written out my vision and my mission, I know what I stand for. And so this does so many things. It gives you a ton of peace in your decision making. And that's what so many of us lack, because we are so tugged at from corporate, from our team, from other coaches, from social media about what we should be shooting for and what we should be doing. And do we go for rank? Do we go for volume? Do we go for that Success Club 10, whatever. When you have a clear vision on what you want to, what your vision for your business is and what you want to create, those decisions become so easy because you can filter every decision through that vision and knowing where you're coming from. When it came to the decision for me to decide if I wanted to, keep my solid 10-star or shoot for 15-star this year, I struggle with it. I'll tell you why. And this is a practical application of how I've used this. I use it daily. I have to use it daily because I don't like the feeling of, none of us like the feeling of, oh, I wonder which one I should do. Either seems good. You make a decision and then you're just not sure if you did the right thing. I don't go there anymore. I don't have to. So here's a practical application for me. A large part of my vision is I want women who were like me 3 years ago, the shy girls, the people who thought they didn't have a lot to offer, the perfectionists and overachievers who would never allow themselves to fail, who would never put themselves out there for rejection. I want those women like me, I want them to feel empowered. I want them to have, I want them to know that they can have every dream they've ever dreamt of. They can do big things. They can overcome fear. They can not care about what people think. And if you're me 3 years ago, that sounds absurd to not care what people think. I can't even believe, that what's happened. I want so many people to feel the freedom that I feel now. So I think about how do I help inspire those women? And so when it came to deciding, you know, what I needed to do, I mean, I had the talent there to help grow those, you know, diamonds, but I would have to kind of still add to that business center to keep it, you know, solid enough. It was a tough decision because for me at that point, I felt confident where I was. I don't need to walk across the stage. I don't need a recognition graphic. I don't need any of it. Like I like achievement for me. It's in my head. Then I feel good. I didn't care for it for myself. And I actually have anxiety around it, honestly. Like, I don't really love being on a platform. I don't really love people knowing who I am to come and follow me and think that I have something, because I still have limiting beliefs that I'm still working on. So I almost oppose it. But when I filtered that decision through what I want to do, my team, the kind of people on my team, a lot of women, a lot of girls, a lot of women like me, they want to see the underdog girl. They want to see her be a 15-star. That inspires them. And that's why I'm going for them. I don't love it. I don't love the idea of being on a platform, but I know that that's what lifts my team up. And ultimately, I think the volume and the income will come from that inspiration and from them feeling like we're part of a superstar team. That's the way my team thinks, and I know that. I attract people like me. I know other teams, like my success partner, her team doesn't care. They don't care about that. That's not something that gets them excited. My team does. And so when I filter that decision through there, I feel confidence and a peace that I'm making the correct decision. And that's a big one, but there's so many things every day that when I have that clear definition of what I'm trying to go for, I don't ever have to stress over how to make decisions. Sorry, I have notes over here that I'm making sure that I don't miss anything that I wanted to. So I want you to think about this, even if you don't have dreams to build a huge business, if this is part-time for you. I mean, I believe that this applies to you as well. You know, you want to keep this hobby around for a while. You want to keep something, you know, a side thing around for a while. What do you want it to look like? You want to feel peace with the decisions you're making, that you're not just going for ranks or things because somebody says that's a good thing. It has to make sense in your life so that you can really own those decisions. Okay, that's number 2. Or nope, that was not number 2. I think that was number 2. Number 3, okay, this is a great way to cultivate a CEO mindset. That's the leap. That's just a go. Epic procrastinator, epic perfectionist. Those kind of two go hand in hand, because if you're that person, you don't want to start something until you know you can do it perfectly, or you're just so you feel like you have to know everything. Like I love to read every little bit of thing I can find. So you feel like you have to like learn everything in the back office. You have to watch every training call. You have to do everything before you do anything. You have to ask all the questions and know all the right ways to do it, have all the scripts, have everything in hand. That was me. And I can't tell you what a freedom it is to now be able to leap without, with a thrill in my stomach now, not that pit. But it started with baby leaps. It started with, for those of you who are painfully shy, those of you who do struggle with putting things out there, you struggle with the way you're perceived on social media or otherwise. For me, it took little mini leaps. And, you know, you cover your eyes and you hit post and you kind of look through, you're like, okay, what's going to happen? I can't look and see. That's how I was, because I was so concerned about people were going to think about me. But as I started to take tiny baby steps over that comfort zone and just take little leaps, it became easier and it became more thrilling to see, hey, nothing crazy happened. Hey, people actually responded to that. Hey, I didn't die. Like it becomes now a thrill, which what I used to think was like torture is now a thrill, because because my comfort zone expanded. That's pretty much what happens when you take those little leaps outside your comfort zone. It just grows. It just grows, and you have to keep leaping outside of it to make it grow. And it gets bigger and bigger, and you're like, well, shoot, what else can I do? It's really fun now. It really is. And it's funny to hear myself say that now. But I actually find it really fun to kind of just do something I would never think possible and realize nobody really cares that much. So, you know, if you find yourself like holding back because you don't feel like you know everything just right, just go, just leap. Who cares if you say the wrong things? You know, if I could show you like, the first message I sent out to a person who asked me about Shakeology, I literally, like, I did it in instant messenger. What are we in? 90s. It was like this long, you know, on Facebook message. It was so painfully long. I'm so embarrassed when I look at it now, but, I can laugh at it now, but that person, she actually ended up joining me. You know, is when it comes from the right place, then people see through that. So I think that's the difference is you see the inauthentic people with the salesy, you know, inarticulate pitches. But when you're really coming from the heart, when you're coming from the right place, people see through that. Okay. So, you know, just give yourself some mercy and know that there's a lot of room for grace when it comes to learning this business, as long as you are leading from the right place. Yes, my little quote that I like to share is imperfect action trumps perfect inaction, because that's where I lived most of my life. I would never start things unless I knew I could be perfect at them. If I started them and I wasn't going to be awesome, I quit. There's like a laundry list of things that careers that I pursued post, you know, college while I was home because, but when I wasn't going to be awesome, I just stopped. This was the first thing that I allowed myself to fail at, to kind of bumble around, or what I perceived as bumbling around. Probably no one else did. I allowed myself just to make mistakes or learning opportunities. And I realized that failure is exactly what I needed to learn how to be better and to inspire my team to make their own quote unquote missteps. All right. My next one is to inflate yourself. Do any of you have coaches who come to you whining and crying about what's going wrong in their business? Do you feel like you kind of have to continue to build them up? Think about that when you're having struggles in your business. Cultivating a CEO mindset, you have to think, I have to be responsible for my own mood, my own disposition. If I am going down with that negativity, the whole team goes down with me. So, you know, obviously when you have new coaches as they're learning and people with challenges and struggles, advice is one thing, talking through challenges is one thing, but you know what I mean by somebody who never really has a solution. They just have a problem. Be careful about being that person, and be careful about feeding those people. There's this visual that one of my friends, another coach, she uses, and she calls it like the balloon that you kind of have to keep inflating, and it kind of just, you know, comes back down. And every time that, you know, and you lose so much energy reinflating that balloon until you realize, you know, eventually, you know, you have to be able to inflate yourself. You've got to be able to, you know, find that positivity. For me, I don't even allow negativity, like, in my head. Like, I have to cut it out with, like, you know, it creeps in there, and I have made a decision to counter it with a solution. I'm solution oriented. I'm not going to complain. I speak that to myself, like, as, you know, silly as that might sound. Like, I say, okay, solution oriented. Let's not whine about this and go to our success partner and gripe about this. A successful CEO is responsible for inflating themselves, and they are responsible for removing those deflating personalities from their lives. And it's hard to do when you feel like you are responsible for everyone's happiness as a leader. You know, and I'm talking about not just your team. If you don't have a team yet, I'm talking about your challenges. If you're working with people, you can't allow that negativity to deflate you. So, you know, removing that from your environment, or you can't, not that I'm saying like you break up with people in your life. There's a way to remove yourself from that negativity so that your energy remains intact and that you can, you know, inspire those around you. And then this is a big one for me. For those of you, this is a really big one that I think I still work on, I still have to work on with the people that I work with. And that's use metrics. Someone like Greg is going to be like, well, yeah, because Greg thinks like that. Like, that's his brain. That's the way he was, made. He's got logic brain. He's black and white. I wasn't made that way. My husband was. Isn't that how it always is? Like, the husband is, you have like those two personalities. Metrics and numbers and black and white does not inspire me. It does not get me excited. I don't like to watch those numbers climb. I have people on my team that do. I don't think it's a male-female thing necessarily. I do have, females on my team that, get so excited about that stuff. Ugh, it bores me to tears. However, and I hear this a lot from other leaders, is how do I motivate my pearls? How do I motivate my pearls? Because we're also feel good and warm fuzzy and, we're not motivated by the numbers. This is really critical. If you find that, you kind of struggle, you go back and forth between, I want to be successful, but I don't want to tie my success to numbers, or I want to do this, but I don't want to feel evaluated by, a leaderboard, whatever you struggle with. For me, I had this mindset around money. I had a hard time making money for something I loved so much. Like, I struggled with that for a few months. Like, when the income started to grow, it almost felt like, is it okay that I'm making money, like doing something that's so fun? Like, this doesn't seem right. I struggle with that. I struggled with success with doing this. I thought, people aren't supposed to love what they do and make like real money, right? Like, I had to really grow with that. So, but I've learned how to use metrics to help me feel inspired to do what I do. So, okay, think about this. And this is mainly for any of you who are not motivated by numbers and metrics. You find yourself more like me. What did you come to do? Why did you get signed up as a coach? What was it that got you pumped up to join this team? You came to help people at some level, whatever it looks like. You want to help people. You want to make a difference. You want to make an impact. You want to be part of this, this solution. I tie those things to metrics. And I don't mean like, I know that I've helped 3 people when I hit Success Club. I mean that in order to give myself a comfort level with what I came to do, I need to challenge myself to do as much of that as I can. For some of you, that might be 3 people. For some of you, maybe more. And for me, it started smaller and it got bigger. But I want to help as many people as possible. So if that means 3 people hit Success Club, awesome. If I'm doing what I came to do, and that's to inspire and help people, rank's going to happen. All those things are going to happen if you're doing what you came to do anyway. So, so here's a kind of a bonus tip. I don't know where this falls in here, but cultivating a CEO mindset, you really have to invest in inspiring yourself with personal development, obviously, but like, I have invested in a confidence coach in the past. I see a therapist weekly. Thursdays at 10 a.m., I see a therapist. It's like one of the best things I've ever done. I have to stay healthy in mind to lead people. And so we were talking about this idea of, how I struggled with the whole rank thing and going for rank. It felt almost like bad to go for rank and money, like, because of the way I think about, the business. And he's helped me to, have some sense of peace around it. And he talks about exams. When you have an exam in a class, it was never intended. Exams originally were never intended to judge you or evaluate you in the hierarchy of, how smart you are in the class. They were intended to give you accountability to learning the topic. If you didn't have an exam, there's no reason to put the energy and time into learning the skills, of the class. Obviously, it's kind of evolved into whatever, and now teachers do trick questions to like make you do bad. But the idea was to hold you accountable to learning the topic. And that's how I look at rank and these metrics. It's not something that defines my success. It is something that challenges me to do what I came to do and gives me a push outside of my comfort zone. If I don't know that, I'm going for, right now I set it at Success Club 10, I can easily be okay with 3. But if I didn't have 10 to go for, I wouldn't know that I could. And if I came to help people, why wouldn't I want to see that I could do 2 more? So use metrics. If you find yourself that it's hard for you to do if you're a Pearl personality, whatever you want to call it, use these metrics to challenge you to learn the skills that you came to do. pushing you outside of your comfort zone, that only helps you. This goes for me as far as building a big team and a 15-star team and a 10-star team and an elite team. My ability to do that inspires more people to step outside their comfort zone. Isn't that what I want? If someone sees me having success, someone like them, doesn't that give me so much more influence? That gets me excited. When I use those metrics to really light up more people, and I tie it to that and not to, oh, of course they want me to hit a sales quota, because that's what I thought when I first got involved. I was so like anti the MLM side of it. I was like, oh, that's going to help people. I thought 5 was this, like Success Club 5 was this like, oh, a quota, of course. Like, but when you think about it that way, then you certainly are going to enjoy what you're doing. So, when you use those metrics to challenge you to do what you came to do, then that stuff comes. Like all the rank and that stuff, it comes when you focus on just doing more of what you came to do. Okay, I actually only have one more point, and it's twofold. And I think this gets into how someone who finds themselves struggling with the idea of being a CEO, how they are able to influence their team without feeling very much like they had tons of answers. To cultivate a successful CEO mindset, you have to pay attention to delegating ownership rather than delegating tasks with your leaders, the people on your team. And this is really big for me. This is so much a part of my leadership. And that is, I am really careful about my team feeling like they are my peers. They know that I don't know any more than they did. I just started sooner than they did. And so I give them ownership. And sometimes you do more than the people that, the challengers even that you're working with, you do have maybe a better understanding or a handle on something. But they're not going to feel empowered when you just give them all the answers outright. When you just kind of, well, here's the, yada, yada, yada. They'll feel like, oh, thank you. You're so helpful. It's kind of like a good pat on the back, and it makes you feel good that you were able to provide, to do something for them. But when they feel empowered themselves, that makes the biggest difference. And I have allowed my coaches on my team to make mistakes, to give them ownership of things that they might not have felt ready with yet. But that made them feel so much more stronger as a leader, so that they felt that they could go off and lead their own teams. And this is, so I'm not giving them tasks. I'm not saying, hey, can you cover this call? Can you cover this? It's not like, because you should, as you grow and, building a team, or as you work with a larger challenge group, say you have, it's getting larger, and maybe even co-host challenge groups, be cautious about delegating tasks, because as an entrepreneur, you are used to doing everything yourself. You're used to like being in charge of everything. And that's kind of the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You feel like, okay, if I fail, I fail. If I succeed, I succeed. It's all on me. And so it's easy to feel like you have to be in control of every little decision that's made. But when you do, you don't inspire and you don't empower. And so it sometimes has to be a conscious effort to really think about developing ownership with somebody rather than a task. So, and this obviously goes for your team and your challengers. However, this is the second part of this. You need to delegate tasks. And you've heard this before, but this was an area that I think I probably jumped sooner than most people. When I got to a certain point, I invested every cent I made back into the business. Every cent. I was making $200 a week, and I decided I needed an assistant. I was just a diamond. Like, I had just hit diamond. Wasn't even like a strong, like superstar, like crazy diamond. I was just like, I was making $200 a week, and I put every cent back in because I was thinking long-term. I wasn't thinking about, I need this money in my hand right now. I knew that I had and so working with that big picture philosophy, I knew that if I was able to have someone doing some of these tasks that I wasn't as good at, I hated, I was going to stay inspired and not burnt out, because we know that happens all the time. I didn't want to feel burnt out. I wanted to continue to love it. So it was worth that at that time. And my income tripled within like 3 months. I made that back threefold by spending time doing what I knew how to do best and was going to actually grow me more income. So some of you might feel like, well, I'm hardly making any of that. I mean, I have coaches that I push them when they're making, like a couple $100 a month. If you finding that this is, you're going to burn out from doing, checking your back office and running, report for, spend the, $5 on an assistant for like 2 hours, whatever that is. Like, it is totally worth it to invest back in your business. When you have that long-term vision, that is so worth it. So delegating ownership rather than tasks, your challengers in your team, and delegating tasks to people who are better at it than you. And that can go for things around your house. Like, I would have someone come and do laundry for me because I got excited about that hour that I'm sitting at my desk connecting with people, and I could make more money in that hour than, than having this girl come do laundry and sweep my house. Because I have 3 kids. So, think about that. Think about those things sooner than you might think, we wait till you have a lot of money to do that. I don't think so. I think if you have that big picture, that big vision, soon you can do that sooner than later. Let me see anything else on that. And I kind of have a little, what I wrote next to that was, measure your worth, know what you're worth. And I think that's the challenge there, is feeling like you're worth it, feeling like, am I worth this effort? Can I invest in this? Am I going to actually deliver on this? But recognize that, you came into this with, a ton of value. And if you're to a point where you're actually inspiring anybody to join you, then that means you have something special. And so, measure your worth, know what you're worth. And sometimes you're not worth that anxiety, that and energy putting into those tasks that drain you and make you not want to actually do your power hour every day. So I'm sure I skipped a lot of the things that I had. But does anybody have any questions or anything that that I could touch on from any of those points?
Hey, Megan. Yeah, I'll start off. I have a question, and I just want to say that I agree with what you were saying about hiring out, and I do that too. I didn't get an assistant as early as you did or anything like that. Actually, I just hired an assistant last month, if you can believe that. Was the first time. But what I would do is I would hire tasks out around the house, so mowing the grass, doing landscaping, painting a room. Now, these are all things that guys love to do, right? And then I see a lot of people, they'll spend all the time doing these home projects when it's can you pay somebody to do that? And then you could spend your time, building your business, building your future. So anyway, my question for you is and I think I have a lot of people on our team that might fall into this boat where, I provide system for everything, right? So we have our sneak peek. We even have challenge groups that we run together as a team. We have, what else? We have training, new coach training that we run together, and new coach calls that we run, that, I run. Now, I think coaches could assume or whatever that, somebody's going to take care of that for me. Somebody's going to take care of my coaches for me. I don't really need to step up and do these things. So when should somebody step up, and how should they go about doing that?
That's a good question. It's individual, but for me as a leader, I can identify those coaches who I think kind of still need to be supported and who I think could handle it, even if they might flail a little to get started. I think they kind of need to flail a little bit to feel confident that they're in control. I don't think that I'm mean, but I kind of kick my diamonds out of the nest. And I don't like it. I want them because I like them in my training groups because they provide a lot of value and they know what they're doing and they kind of take things off of me. But I want them to feel like their own CEO. Because if they always see Meghan or Team Phoenix or that, as their team, then I don't think their teams are going to thrive. My top coaches are, they have a real culture. I've pushed them to do things sooner than they were ready. And now they are like their own entity. It's so cool to see those people who thought that they didn't have it. So I have kind of selectively pushed those who I think, just for my own like discernment. I mean, I'm not saying I'm like super intuitive, but I know for sure. I have like a coach who's really strong, but she's, works crazy hours. So I know that fall into my group until you can get a hand with that. I judge it for me as far as what I encourage them to do. But I think I have coaches and here's the other thing, I don't do things, I'm not systematic. I'm semi-disorganized. So I kind of like that my coaches don't always know exactly. They know that I'm going to do it, but they don't have all the answers right at their fingertips. And I think it gets slightly frustrating enough that they're like, I just want to do my own, so I know exactly where the group is at. Like, I like that. I mean, I think that might be annoyed with me like slightly, but I kind of like that because I want them to feel like if they could do it better, then they should. And then I know that there's like a little tension for a second until they realize, oh my gosh, I did my own coach training, and they're so excited, and they come to me like, so yeah, I just trained my new coach. I just started this little thing. So yeah, I took 10 more assignments, and they're so excited to show me what they did, and I love it. So I don't think you have to be a diamond or anything like that. I have a coach who's an emerald who just decided that she didn't feel like her coaches were going to thrive in my bigger group. She's an emerald. She just said, oh yeah, I just did my own coach training, and that gets me excited because that's what a CEO does. So I don't know. I think it's if you feel like you know what what did I do? I had my husband and my mother-in-law, my best friend signed up, and I'm doing a team call with like, what am I doing? So I don't think it matters. It's if you desire it.
Okay. Thanks. Who else has a question? You can take yourself off of mute.
I will say that.
Meghan, I don't have really a question, but I just wanted to say, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I've never used my phone before. Okay, so I just wanted to say thank you for your awesome call. I'm a Pearl just like you, and I like connected with I feel like our personalities are like 90% like exactly the same, and it's just hilarious to me because when I first took the gym test, Greg told me I was drunk. When I told him I was a Pearl, he like swore up and down I was a Ruby or whatever else. But I retook the damn test, and I'm like a Pearl, and I was like connected with like everything that you just said, and so I just wanted to, thank you for coming on the call and especially showing Greg that Pearls can be like badass rock stars too, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for all your awesome tips.
Thank you for sharing. That makes me so happy to know that it connected because I know that that not everybody probably connected with a lot of that, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
In your face, Emerald Coach. No, just kidding.
Yeah. See why I think she's a Ruby? Okay, who else?
Meghan, it's Stephanie. I'm on an iPad because I can't move around enough. I just wanted to thank you also because I am a Pearl too, and literally your conversation that started about everything is exactly how I've been feeling the last few days. So I really appreciate it, and I'm actually taking everything that you did and starting to create a new vision board. So thank you very much.
Aw, thanks for sharing. I'm so glad.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a quick question, Greg. Meghan, when I really connected with your perfection paralysis, and that, if I have to read it all and I want to read a book on it. And so, which is funny because my question is, did you find any good personal development that really helped you get over that, procrastination, perfectionism loop, and really help with your confidence to just get out there and do it? Because I think I've found myself stuck in that on some things that I know are critical to moving my business forward. It's just I know it's not going to be perfect. And so I find myself kind of bound by that.
The book Start by John Acuff was the book that I think really pushed me. I was still a relatively new coach, and I was desiring it, but wasn't really getting over the hump right there. And that was the book that kind of got me really excited and helped me to start being okay with making mistakes. Something like I'll do silly things like I used to be the person who I would correct every typo in my posts because I didn't want to be perceived as inarticulate or whatever. Like I started to let things that were blazingly for me so painful to just go, and the more I kind of pull up the Band-Aid, the easier it was to accept imperfection. And the reality is that is what I found the people most admire about me. When I have people who join me, they say, you're not too perfect. I'm like, oh, thanks, I think. And I know they mean, and I don't take it personally, but I think that I'm sharing that they see that I'm not perfect, that I'm sharing the mistakes, or I don't get all upset about making an error here or there. I like my coaches to see it because I want them to see they don't be perfect. So I think when you little at a time, I think if you do a little at a time, you can see great progress if you just kind of little things here and there, and it'll build up. But Start by John Acuff, Jonacuff.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Also, I know Shalene talks about it a lot on her podcast. If you listen to those, she'll just say it's better to do 80% and get it done than 100% and never get it done. So.
That also this is something that I think we get on this kick of do your power hour, do your power hour, and I want to do it every day. The benefit is helping people do power hour. It's everything. But I think the problem is we think it has to look like this. And we're not okay if it's not going to look like that, and so we just don't do anything that day. So release yourself from the chain of, well, if I didn't do exactly 3 here and I didn't go, oh well, the hell with it. Give yourself some grace that your power hour does not have to look identical every day. It does not have to look like that checklist. That checklist is a guideline. That checklist is to give you a sense of what it, around what it should look like. But it's okay that it looks different every day, and it's okay that it's not perfect every day. If it's all you can do to do parts of it, it's better than not doing anything. So the next day you can do 15 new contacts, whatever. But that was one of those things that hung me up, and still does with certain things, is thinking that, oh, I'm told to do this power hour, and I'm failing every day, so might as well just forget it.
I am nodding my head. I feel exactly that same way, where it's okay, if I can't get all 16 things done, then forget it. No, don't do any of it. So
those 2 people that you might have said hi to and connected with a day, but you just decide, I'm not going to do it all. So those are if all you had time for was those are 3 lives that you could have impacted. And that's kind of the way I think about, oh my gosh, I'm missing opportunities to impact people's lives because I think I'm not doing it right or to my standard. Because, standards are up here, we keep raising them too. So you think about the lives that you're missing by falling into that trap.
It's good perspective. Thank you.
Meghan?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you, because I struggle with people who won't buy a challenge pack, but they want to get workout programs. And so I get crippled a little bit by a Success Club, and if I don't make it, and then I'm going back to what you said, where what's my whole reason for doing this? My reason is to help people. I didn't start out by doing challenge packs. And look where I am now. I'm totally sold on Shakeology, and if they want it, they'll get it. So it just sort of helped reiterate that for me, because I always feel so bad when they're like, no, I'm not going to get a challenge pack. And I didn't succeed as much because it's not a Success Club point, but I'm still helping them. They're getting fit and they're working hard to get healthy. And I don't know, I just appreciate your perspective on it. I'm a Ruby and a Pearl, and I don't even know what that means. So I get shy about things, but yet I'm boisterous and I confuse myself. So Thank you so much.
I'm glad. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
All right. Well, we are out of time, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So thank you very much, Meghan. I think a lot of people got a lot out of it, and I'm sure a lot of other people will watch it again, the recording, or people that weren't able to attend the call will certainly watch it. So thank you very much for coming to talk to us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, good night.
Thanks, Meghan. All right, good night.
Night.